Way back when. Well, the Rice County Fair Queen contest has been going on over 40 years. I remember that because last year they had their big reunion.
It was
right?
Yes, it
Wasn't
was
that
a
awesome?
Wonderful time. Over 35 gals came back, and we had a really good time, and they enjoyed it.
Yeah, I have a picture up on our website of all the ladies that were up on stage.
Yep, got a lot of comments back thanking and enjoying it immensely, to be remembered, and they looked wonderful. And the original first queen is just a hoot. She's got a personality plus, and you can see why she was the first queen.
Yeah, Dean Curtis, KDHL fame, started all this way back when.
1976. He felt the need for a queen and an ambassador, and he turned it over to some gals on the board, and here we are 41 years later, still going strong.
That's amazing.
Yes, it is. It's Americana, and a very, very important part of our community.
Yep. A lot of fairs don't have a fair queen.
No, I've often thought about doing the stats on that and see how many do and how many don't. When we've gone up to convention at State Fair Convention, or I should say County Fair Conventions in January, I've had people come up to me and ask all the details of how we do ours because they're interested. It's a very popular thing, and it's fun. And the scholarships, not everybody has scholarships, and not everybody has what we have, but it's great, and it's a wonderful experience for these young ladies.
I don't think it started out that way as far as the scholarships, right?
No, it was a crown, a sash, and that's about it. And they, were down at the fair during the week when they could be, and they didn't have a list of duties or anything. So when I came on almost 20 years ago, I developed the list of the duties, and got a wonderful MC, which is Mr. Cosfeld, sitting here. They needed that, and he said yes that many years ago, and so now a local person has stepped up. We've always had scholarships, probably the last 10 years, but David Gross, a friend of mine, and a wonderful man that believes in giving back and giving forward. $1,000 for queen this year and $500 for first and second attendant. Nobody compares to what we give away. And these kids need this. College is expensive, and if it buys books, it buys something, and it gives them the opportunity to further their education.
And they get to go to a lot of different parades, right?
Oh, parades and coronations. There's about 4 that we require them, the local areas, but I leave that up to the girls, that if they want to go a little further and do things up in Minneapolis, Aquatennial and that, and some of the parades that are a little further away. So some of them have gone up to Anoka and different places, and they've really, really expanded their year. And that's great, because people will say, oh, Rice County, where's that? Oh, you have a queen? Oh, that's wonderful. So it's good.
You remember which 4 are required?
Morristown, Heritage in town here, Kalachki Days, and Jesse James. And I don't want to sound like it's required, because it's not a fun thing. They're all a lot of fun. Of course, our Heritage parade is important, but the Jesse James, they have such an expanded program over there, and the girls have a lot of fun with that. And the Kalachki, with the check, they do a lot with that also. And then Morristown Dam Days is a good opening to summer events.
Yeah, well, they do a great pageant over there.
Yes.
In Morristown. They do a super job.
Yes, I've attended the last few years, and I enjoy that immensely.
Yeah. Anyway, we're going to talk more about some of the rules that are required for people who are running. June 29th is the deadline, right?
Yes.
Is that what I saw on your website? The deadline, June 29th. RiceCountyFair.net. RiceCountyFair.net is the website if you want more information. Right now we're going to get our opening market report, a service of your KDHL Agri Boosters. Then we'll come back and visit with Kathleen, the president of the Rice County Fair Board. And I have the president here in the studio. We'll do that when AM Minnesota continues.
I said, then you can get in line with the other one.
August is up 15 at 121.20. St. Peter's 60 higher. And hogs are mixed, added to cold storage members out this afternoon.
At least I couldn't find on your website the rules. I found your form.
All right, I will.
But I couldn't find what age and that sort of thing.
Tara.
Thanks, John. Certainly appreciate that. That's your open and market report. Service of your KDHL Agri Boosters, already mentioned one. Others are Ag Power Enterprises, your John Deere dealer, Olatana, Hollandale, Belle Plaine, also Osage, Northwood, Iowa, and Gypsoil brand gypsum. Applied gypsum after the first cutting of alfalfa at Ohio State University saw a yield increase of 18%. Contact Abe at Performance Seed and Insurance in Medford. Today on our AM Minnesota program, Kathleen Kapp is the president of Rice County Fair Board. She's also in charge of the Fair Queen contest and has been for almost 2 decades. Or has it been 2 decades?
Yeah, almost. I was kind of behind the scene the first 2 years because I had daughters running, and I said I do not want to be actually on that committee, and they said, no, that doesn't make any difference because other people that have had daughters run. And I said, well, I'll give you some. It needed some tweaking, and I gave them some tips and some ideas of things they could do, and then I said, when my last daughter runs, then I'll come on officially on the board. And then from that, Jim Hermel asked me to come on and do the kids programs, and I ended up on the board, and here we are 20 years later.
And you're the president.
Yes, yes. I enjoy doing that. There's not a lot to it, but you run the meetings and maybe you're asked questions, but I'm the first woman ever to be president of the Rice County Ag Society, so I think that's a real plus.
Seems like a long time coming.
Yeah, so, and I hope I'm not there because a woman needed to be in the spot, that it's my time and talent that I use to help with the fair. The fair is a very important part of our community, and I think a lot of times people forget that because we have so many draws from outside of the community, up in the cities, Valley Fair and that type of thing. This is hometown activities. It's a reunion of some sorts. I've run into classmates from 50 years ago that it's fun to see, oh, you're back for the fair. They said, oh yeah, we love it. A lot of memories.
Yeah, well, it's kind of a constant. It's a tradition. It's been going on for
144 years. You know, some people have said, well, we're not a farming community, we're not rural. Yes, we are. It's just that the rural has changed, it's modernized, and we are both rural and city, and people need to find out where our food comes from. I sub in the district, and there's kids that have no clue where that milk comes from or that beef comes from in the grocery store, and it doesn't. It comes from hardworking farmers, and I've enjoyed meeting these different farmers that come in for Century Farms, a lot of familiar names, and then working with somebody like Kevin Eastrom, the pork producer, that helps me with my hog calling contest. I mean, we are rural, and we should be proud to be rural.
A week ago, Todd Sesker sat in that very chair, superintendent of the Faribault Public Schools, and said they're looking into possibly restarting an FFA chapter here in the Faribault Public Schools.
I think that's a wonderful idea. I know Randolph still has a very powerful one over there. I think it's good. I graduated in '68, and we had a lot of FFA guys back then. And then now, of course, it can be FFA boys and girls. And it is very important. They learn a lot. Farming is not just going out and milking those cows and driving the tractor. There's a lot to the farming that people need to be educated about, and what great roots is to have FFA, and then hopefully we can get them involved in the fair some way.
Well, you'll find most of your FFA members these days are not even on the farm.
No, that's very, very true. Very true. And I think the 4-H is the starting block for people to get involved with FFA. They even had an FFA sweetheart back in the 60s and before that. So that was a farm girl.
Yeah.
Did you know that?
Oh yeah. Bethlehem Academy is looking into starting an FFA chapter too.
Oh, I think that's great. Faribault needs that. This Rice County needs that. That would be wonderful.
So
I hope it's successful.
Yeah, that would be interesting. Now the Fair Queen does not have to be involved in 4-H, right?
No, no, it's not a fair. It's not a 4-H contest. A lot of people thought that, and I believe in the beginning it was mostly 4-H girls that did run. But anyone can run. You have to live within Rice County, and there's have been people that they own land in Rice County, and their farm home is just outside, but they own property in Rice County. And that's really the only qualification in that aspect, that you have to live within or be connected with Rice County.
Yeah, because you've had queen contestants in the past, I remember, who went to the New Prague schools, or
Right.
maybe the Montgomery Lonsdale schools,
Right.
because they did have property here in Rice
Right.
County, as you said.
Right. And the other thing is, if you live outside the county but you belong to one of the local Rice County 4-H groups, we don't want to eliminate them, because if they feel that our 4-H in our Rice County is very important to belong to, then they also can run, even if they live outside the county. So it does involve a few girls. None have picked up on it yet, but that's their opportunity to do that. We want to open it up to as many that are interested. This is a wonderful thing to have on the resume, whether they win or not. Someday they can put on their resume that they tried, and it's, you know, they have an interview, and they put the effort into the being part of a community event, and a historic community event. So
Yeah, if nothing else, it's a good experience to practice being interviewed.
absolutely.
It's like a job interview.
Yes, and we've had some wonderful people that have interviewed the girls. It's nothing scary. It's basic about what goes on at the fair, and they just, on their entry form, they put down things that they're in, and that can be, some girls write almost a book, and other ones have it very simple. It's just that you're willing to be a part of something other than your own little niche. And it's a wonderful week down at the fair. I mean, they're there from 10 o'clock in the morning till 10 o'clock at night. And they do a lot of things. And then, of course, like you said, they the rest of the year they promote the fair in parades and have fun in coronations. I mean, Gordy, do you realize some of these prom dresses are over $500?
I know, don't get me going on that.
And it gives them an opportunity to wear their formals, because they come in something simple for interview, dressy, kind of a business type outfit, and then for coronation they come in formals. So and there's a lot of places, if they can't afford a brand new one, there's a lot of nice thrift shops in Faribault. So it's a pretty girl is what you're looking at, and an outgoing girl. The dress comes second.
Yeah. So it's a 2-page form. I
Yes.
printed it off the ricecountyfair.net website, ricecountyfair.net. Just 2 pages, although you do want a separate page with that information that you mentioned.
Yes, the second page is the most important part, that our judges get a chance to. They have this for about a week to go over and make a spreadsheet on things they'd like to ask the girls. And the final thing is, they have to write a short paragraph or a couple sentences of why they want to be fair queen. And then that's another thing that I started a couple years ago, that they actually read that up on stage, because one of the things that had happened before is the girls came, they got introduced, they got crowned, and it was over in 15 minutes. It's a wonderful thing to have at the fair, and it runs about an hour, and you get to know these girls. And I like the audience to see why the girl that was picked. And we'll have 300 or 400 people there watching it. It's opening night, and it's a wonderful event. The
Yeah.
first year I was part of it, I wore long sleeves and a long pair of pants because it was cold. We haven't had a cold one yet, so I'm hoping maybe this year will be a cooler one. But
Well, a few years ago, I remember wearing jackets.
yeah, but it was actually cold that night. But no, it's usually pretty warm. But you kind of forget about the heat and enjoy the moment, because it's very entertaining. We have Boogie Land Entertainment does some music in our sound system, and then we have special guests that come. That's another thing that was started. We have the mayor, if he can get away from his meeting, and we do invite mayors from the other cities. and then our commissioners and our sheriff and our police chief all come to welcome the people. That's the beginning, is to welcome the people to a week-long fair. And then we go into interviewing the girls and last year's reigning queens and crown our new ones. And it takes a good hour to do it. It goes fast. I know there's some people, hurry up, they want to know because they have other things to do at the fair, but we need to give these girls their time up on stage. And I think it was 2 years ago, one of the girls, I've always asked them, does anybody want to sing or do something? We don't have time for talent from everybody. But the one young lady plays ukulele and sang a song, and you saw the personality that we saw, and she was our Miss Congeniality that year. So that made it a little bit fun. We can always tweak it every year to do something different.
Then you usually do a number together, don't you, or something?
Do a what?
A number, like a dance routine or something?
No.
We have never done that?
No. It's always been just introducing and talking to the girls. And
I'm not sure we did a number somewhere along the line. Not we, I should say.
Yeah.
I didn't, but the girls did.
No. Oh, they do a fair song.
Yeah.
I wrote a fair song, and
then
they sing that, and they have some actions to it, and they're a little embarrassed at first to think they have to do it, but it's been a fun thing for them. And each outgoing royalty has reminded me that they have to do that and sing that song, and it's been fun. I enjoy that part too.
That's what it all should be fun. I mean,
Yeah.
That's what it's all about.
Right. Very, very much so. We take wonderful pictures that they'll have for memories. They all get their sponsor sash, and they have a dinner, and that is out at Basher's. And I'm sad that Jerry won't be a part of that, Jerry Kess this year, but he's always hosted us out there, and I know that that'll continue, and that'll be a positive. And then they get a booklet. If these are the people that, if they don't place, but the royalty that do place, they get a sash, another sash that's embroidered, that's done by Karen Buzzard Design Specialties, and a beautiful crown, and a year of fun, a year of memories. Oh, and a picture by Paul Swenson. So it's a wonderful, wonderful opportunity for them.
Kathleen Kapp is the Rice County Fair Board President. She's our guest this morning on AM Minnesota. As luck would have it, tomorrow John Dvorak, who's the Executive Secretary of the Fair, will be visiting with Jerry tomorrow here on AM Minnesota. Wednesday we go to our Northfield show. This week we're talking with the Chamber folks. Every other week we do a Northfield show at Professional Pride Realty in Northfield. It'll be Chamber show this week, and then week after next we'll talk about a community centered show. Still looking at booking this Thursday and Friday. I'm hoping to have the folks who are going to be honored during Memorial Day on either Thursday or Friday of this week out at Central Park. Of course, they have their observances, and we encourage you to attend. And then somebody else had also inquired about a possibility of being on either Thursday or Friday, depending on what day those veterans folks choose. So we do have a couple of shows in the hopper, just haven't squared away which day they'll be on, Thursday or Friday. But Kathleen Kapp is with us talking about the Rice County Fair Queen contest. When I arrived here at KDHL, I started June 1st, 1987. And I do remember there was a Miss Faribault contest back then. Can't remember if it was a Mrs. JC's or somebody put it on.
The JC's did do that.
And it didn't last very long. I don't know how long it was here before I got here.
I couldn't tell you right now how many years that but I'm going to say at least 20 years, maybe 30. Yeah.
There's still communities that have Miss whatever town is contest, then they go to Miss, the Miss America program.
Right. Then you have the opportunity to go on from there. So, and I participated in that, and that kind of got me into this, that my knowledge of participating in Miss Faribault gave me some ideas for this.
And I don't remember, Kathleen, maybe you do, if those early years it was part of the Miss America pageant. I seem to recall they had a swimsuit competition and decided, they weren't getting a lot of contestants for that very reason, so they got rid of it, which would disqualify you at that time from Miss America. I don't know if they still do it. Do they still do that in Miss America?
Yes. Well, if you watch on TV, they do. Swimsuits are a lot different in what they wear, and,
Right, yeah.
and that. But it's either that or Miss Universe. I know one of them that that they do have that.
So there's none of that here in the. What
No.
I'm getting at, none of that here in the Fair
right.
Queen contest.
No, you're not judged on your gown. We don't do a talent, and you don't have to wear a swimsuit. You're judged on your interview of your knowledge of the fair
Personality would
and
probably
your
be number
personality.
one,
You're outgoing, and are you? The judges can tell if you're there to actually be the queen and represent the fair, or if you are there because it's just something you thought would be fun to do. They can tell which way you're heading, and if you're going to dedicate yourself to that week. It's very important that they're down there. We take in consideration the heat, and we have a place for them to go in the air conditioned in between, and they have a wonderful time.
And they get great food too.
Yes, they do. Yes, the concessions are very good to them. They cannot ask for free food, but they're very good about knowing that the girls maybe don't have as much money to spend. I mean, if you're down there all the time, that's breakfast, lunch, and dinner, plus maybe a snack in between. And so they're very good to the girls. Godfather's always gives them pizza. So they get their fill of pizza that week from two wonderful guys. Matter of fact, we have pictures from the last few years that those two gentlemen wear the girls' crowns for a picture. And that's been, those are the fun things that come about down there. And they judge my hog calling contest, which they love doing. And they give out ribbons, they give out awards, they help with the Kids Day and Daycare Day. They escort the senior volunteer up. I mean, there's a lot. They're busy. The only thing that interferes, or that maybe is not the right word to use, but if they are 4-H and they have something to do with 4-H, we always tell them you have to go and do your 4-H first, and if it interferes in something that they're supposed to be doing, because that's very, very important. If something happens in their family that they need to be excused, that is also okay, but for the most part, I haven't had any girl that hasn't been down there all week, and then they're running from their 4-H show item back to where we are, and enjoying every minute of it. They do the drawings at the end of the day. I think it's 10:15 they do a drawing. But
and when you visit with these ladies years later, like at the reunion last year, I visited with a few of the women who have been the queens over all these years. To a person, they all said they were glad they did it, and they gained so much more confidence in themselves because they did it.
Absolutely. There's some young ladies in these past 20 years that I've encouraged to run that were very quiet, and they said they enjoyed, and it's helped them in their jobs. They're in their 30s now, and it's helped them to get a position that they enjoy, and it's a very, very positive thing. As far as the qualifications, they have to be 16 and not more than 20 as of June 1st, 2017. They cannot be married. They must be single, and they don't have any children. Their interests must have a strong interest in the Rice County Fair, and eligibility candidates must live within Rice County or be a member of the Rice County 4-H if they live outside of the Rice County borders. And then they need a sponsor. Candidates can find a sponsor, and it's a $60 entry fee, and sponsors can be organizations, businesses, or individuals, and the entry fee is made payable to the Rice County Egg Society. And one thing I have found, if there's a young lady that wants to run and she cannot find a sponsor, I've always helped her with a sponsor. And to be honest with you, KDHL has stepped up to the plate many times. And then she cannot be a reigning royalty from any other festival for this year, 2017.
So what you're saying is, if Miss Morristown wanted to run for the fair, she couldn't?
No, if she's the one that's being crowned this year, she cannot run. She can run next year.
Right.
And the outgoing gals, if they would like to run, they can come and be a part of it. The judging criteria, we have 3 judges: the general appearance, the ability to meet people, desire and ability to promote the Rice County Fair, verbal communication and outgoing personality, and they just bubble. They just bubble. They're pretty tired by the end of the week, but and we have some wonderful sponsors that help us out. Chappie Jewelry's has done a diamond pendant forever, and they said we'll do that as long as we're here. They're very happy to be a part of that. Paul Swenson does an 11 by 14 portrait and sitting of the Queen, and then we also give a 5 by 7 group to all three girls. The tiara is donated by Franson Bank and First National Bank. Sashes, Design Specialty, and Karen Buzzard, and I sew the sashes for them, which I love doing. Fair Buttons, Potential Unlimited of Waterville, and our flower bouquets are Reliance Bank of Faribault and Hy-Vee. And the wrist corsages are State Bank. The charms are from Community Resource, and they get an Afghan also from the Rice County Ag Society. And the parade banner that they use in all the parades is Design Specialties of Karen Buzzard. And the interview dinners, each individual sponsor pays for their dinner, but we are hosted out at Basher's. And then Educational Scholarship is David Gross. And the Moose Lodge and Women of the Moose have also chipped into that in the past. And then we have a special trophy by Star Trophy and Awards, and a flower bouquet for her from Reliance Bank. And then the girls vote on Miss Congeniality. That's a very interesting crown we give. Other sponsors we've had are Faribault Eagles, Northfield Eagles, American Legion, Morristown, and Faribault and Northfield, the Faribault Animal Center, Insty Prince, and Carlander Family. Carlanders have been very generous towards a lot of things at the fair. So I encourage any gal out there that would like to try for this and be a part of it. We've had as many as 18 and as few as 4, and there were 2 years that back in the early 80s we didn't have anybody, which is I don't quite understand why they wouldn't have found someone, but to have 18 girls, that was probably the most fun I had. And to see them all lined up. And when you come down to the fair, of course it's going to be on KDHL, right? So if you can't get out, but when you come down to the fair and watch us, Gordy does a fantastic time of interviewing these girls and finding out about them.
Well, we're running out of time here, Kathleen.
Oh gosh.
We've only got a few seconds. So thanks for coming in. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
June 29th again is the deadline. If you know a young lady who just happens to be at your church or in your neighborhood, or if it's your granddaughter or whatever, encourage that young person to run, because I think they'll gain a lot from it.
Yeah.
They'll absolutely
Nice,
gain a lot.
nice scholarship to think about for college girls.
Yes. That concludes today's edition of AM Minnesota on KDHL AM Faribault, Minnesota. Again tomorrow, John Dvorak visits with Jerry Grosskreutz about the Rice County Fair.